this land. PNM's got the love, 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 love. PNM understands. PNM's got the love, love, love.
Madam Chair Lady, Tenille Tobias, our chairman of the People's National Movement, Mr. Conrad Enel, party officers, friends, this mammoth crowd here of young people in the Queen's Park Savannah. I have never seen such a group of young people as large as this in my life. And I understand that you have come from far and wide, correct? Anybody came from St. Joseph? Anybody from Kumuto Manzanilla? Anybody from Arima? Anybody from Faizabad? Anybody from San Fernando? Anybody from the People's National Movement? I want them to hear you far and wide. My dear friends, election 2010, and never before have we seen so many young people following the PNM. And we want to thank you very sincerely for coming here today and to buying into the cause, joining the crusade, my dear friends, of persons seeking to be associated with the PNM and to make Trinidad and Tobago a much better place in which all of us could live comfortably. I had a dilemma as to what to say to you this afternoon. I don't know when next I will get a chance to talk to so many young people from all over the country, from all walks of life. So I want to start off today by telling you a little bit about myself. Many of you, well, first of all, I want to tell you that I was not born Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I came from very humble beginnings in Coquia Village in San Fernando. All right, we have Coquia people here. My father used to work in the refinery lab in Pointe-a-Pierre. He used to sweep the lab. That's how we started off. And to supplement the family income, my mother had a private school. So I used to go to school before I knew anything else. They couldn't afford a lot of things. I used to have to walk to school, my dear friends, from Coquia Village to San Fernando Government School on Rushworth Street in San Fernando, a distance of somewhere between 1.5 and 2 miles. Walk to school in the morning, walk back to school in the afternoon. And that, I know many of you are accustomed to drinking Milo and all kinds of things today. We specialized at home in soursop leaf tea and orange peel tea, for those who didn't know. That's how we grew up. My parents used to buy flour in the 50-pound bag. You know why? Because you could then take the bag, wash it, and you could make a shirt from it. And then they will wash the bag 2 and 3 times so that I don't go down the road with Harvest Queen written on my back. It was Harvest Queen flour in those years. That's how it was. My mother was a very strong disciplinarian. You couldn't tell her, for example, that you weren't going to school. You can't tell my mother that. One day, I had no shirt to wear. You know what she did? She opened a drawer and took out one of my sister's blouses with tassels all in front. If you see how pretty this blouse looking. And she gave me that to wear. And when I started to cry and I don't want to go to school, you're going to school. So I wear my sister's blouse to school complete with tassels. And the fellas had a field day in school at that time. But that is what we could have afforded, and that is what I had to wear. So that, my dear friends, I came up from very humble beginnings and in very humble circumstances. I am saying that to you because there are many of you in this audience who yourselves have come from very humble beginnings, who yourselves, my dear friends, are living in circumstances where today you can't afford everything that you would wish, and many of you believe that that is a disadvantage to your development. I want to assure you it is not a disadvantage at all. In fact, my dear friends, the very humble beginnings have a way of shaping your character and personality and making you into the kind of upright citizens to which all of us aspire. I have a lot of friends. If you look today at the leaders in this country, you will find out that many came from humble beginnings. A few nights ago, talking to an audience in Marabella, I cited the case of the chairman of Petrotrin, who had just retired as executive chairman. That Mr. Malcolm Jones is his name. That gentleman lived on the line in Marabella, in accommodation for which they paid a rent of $4 a month for the first 18 years of his life. And he emerged to be one of the scholars of this country and to reach the position of chairman of Petrotrin. I remember, my dear friends, that when I went to primary school, whenever dignitaries came to that school, they used to say to us that you are the leaders of tomorrow. And I used to laugh. Because I thought that that is what older people said to young people to make them feel good. Until one morning in 1986, when the PNM lost an election for the first time, only 3 of us survived. And I got up that morning to realize that I was about to be appointed leader of the opposition and political leader of the PNM, elected political leader. I couldn't believe it because I never thought that that was possible. I never thought, my dear friends, that I could follow in the shoes of Eric Williams. I thought that such positions were not for me. And therefore, I never prepared for it. And when I woke up that morning and realized what was about to happen, I realized the dilemma in which I found myself. And all because when people came to the school and they said to me and to us that the young people of today are the leaders of tomorrow, I used to laugh. I didn't take them seriously until I woke up and found myself in a leadership position. So I want to tell all of you today, it matters not where you were born. It matters not what part of the country you come from. It matters not, my dear friends, the conditions and circumstances under which you live today. As long as you take advantage of the educational opportunities that the PNM is providing for you, then I can assure you that you, my dear friends, are indeed the leaders of tomorrow. Prepare for it today. Prepare for it today. And don't find yourselves in the situation in which I found myself, in a position of leadership and authority, and not being prepared to discharge the functions associated with that task because I did not believe. Today, my dear friends, I want you all to believe. You are living in times where the arrangements are very different. The opportunities that you have today are not the opportunities that we had of yesterday. My father was a very intelligent man, but he never had a chance to go to secondary school. He just never had the opportunity. Today, you could go to any school you want. Every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago today has access to primary school education, has access to secondary school education free, now has access to university education free, my dear friends. And if you get a first-class honors, you have access to a PhD free in any university in any part of the whole wide world. Those are the opportunities. For those of you who have a technical orientation, you can learn technical skills in the secondary school system today. And then you could go to COSTAT, the community college. Or, my dear friends, for those of you who may have dropped out of school, who feel that life is weighted against you and you have no future. That is not so. That is not so. The government has put in place a host of programs by which you can better yourselves, my dear friends. The MUST program was specifically designed for citizens, our young citizens, who may have come out of school with no O-levels, with one O-level, with two, and who feel that the whole world is against them. You merely have to go into the MUST program. In a 6-month training course, they will teach you a technical skill right now with a certification, the CVQ as they call it, the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, level 1. And after you come out and you work for a little while, you go back in and you do level 2. Level 2 takes you up to O-levels. Once you finish that, you could go into the community college, or you could go into one of the host of other programs that the state has put in place for you. And if you have, my dear friends, 1 O-level or 2 O-levels, but you want to go to the university, you could go to the University of Trinidad and Tobago. You could join the POP program, where they will train you to complete your certification, 3, 4, 5, all the O-levels that you require for entry into the university. And when you get it, you can then enter the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Study for 4 years, you could get a degree, and then the sky, my dear friends, is the limit. For those of you who are business inclined, you could go to NEDCO. And NEDCO would lend you money. NEDCO would lend you money as long as they are satisfied that you're serious. They will lend you the money. They will monitor you and so on. And if you pay back the money they lend you, $100,000 in the first instance, then they will lend you $250,000. And if you pay that back, then they lend you $500,000. And the sky is the limit. You're gone, my dear friends. You are well on your way as a result of the programs that the PNM has put in place. So, ladies and gentlemen, my dear young friends, you have no excuse really not to succeed. Success has not just to do with the opportunities that are available to you, that is so. But as they used to tell us in school, one can lead a horse to water, but 1,000,000 cannot make him drink. So we provide the opportunities. It is for you to take advantage of those opportunities, my dear friends, and to become what you want to be. Many of you have felt that you have made serious mistakes in life. I could tell you, I did not always do well in school. At one time, and many of you have disagreements with your parents. I had major disagreements with my father. At one time, my father told me, and listen to this carefully. At one time, my father told me that I was a disgrace to the family. Of course, when he died in 1998, he wasn't saying that. He was singing a different tune. But he said that. And I say it to you because many of you find yourselves in a situation where your parents tell you those things. Look at me today, my dear friends. From a disgrace to the family, to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. All because I took advantage of the opportunities that were put in my way. It is for you. In your training programs, they will also teach you life skills. And that is important because we are trying to build a certain kind of society. We are trying to develop certain kinds of citizens. And it is important that whether you are male or female, that you make a conscious decision as to the kind of citizen that you want to be. I want to say to the men in this audience that the women in this country are doing exceptionally well. The women are doing well. But as the women do well, and as they grow up, they're looking for husbands who have done well also. But the men are not measuring up. And therefore the men have to stop and take note of what you are doing, my young friends. Take note of what you are doing and realize that you have a responsibility to the women in this society, and you have a responsibility to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So you have to study a little harder. You have to work. And your attitude towards women, my dear friends, must be an attitude of love. Has to be that. I don't know if you all have studied women, But let me tell you a couple things about women. You see, you men, you are moved by what you see. So you see a sexy lady walking down the road, that attracts you. That don't attract women, eh? You know what attracts women? The way you treat them, your attitude towards them, my dear. And I will tell you something else. If you treat a woman well, you will get out of her far more than you could ever hope to put in. Men in this society have to become more responsible. The young men have to understand that you have to be responsible in your sexual habits, men and women. And if you are not ready for parenthood, and I talk about a psychological readiness, if you are not ready for parenthood, my dear friends, please stay away from sex. Stay away from it. The ideal situation is that there should be no sex outside of marriage, but I know how you all are. Right or wrong? What do the women say? Oh, you're not saying anything. The men don't have sex with themselves, you know. You understand? So there has to be responsibility in the conduct of your sexual behaviors. Remember two things. One is that pregnancy is no respect of persons, nor is HIV/AIDS. It can happen to anybody, and especially if it is HIV/AIDS, it is a dangerous thing to have contracted that. What it does to you, it affects you psychologically, my dear friends, and puts you in a situation where you cannot maximize your full potential, especially the opportunities presented to you by the PNM government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And young woman, two pieces of advice I want to give you. Two. The first is, be careful with your sexual behaviors. If you get pregnant, then abortion is not an option. Not an option. And the second thing I want to tell you, young woman, I want to beg you, do me one favor. Stay away from married men. The government of Trinidad and Tobago has done a lot for you. We have put a host of programs in place, and over the next 5 years, what we intend to do is to streamline every program, including the programs in the secondary and primary school systems, to make those programs more efficient, to make those programs more effective, and to make sure that you are able to derive the maximum benefits out of those programs, my dear friend. I want you to remember also one other thing that I should have told you before. Let me tell you it now. As my mother used to tell me, that cleanliness is next to godliness. I am talking about your personal hygiene in the first instance. And you men, women don't like men who don't smell good, for those who didn't know. But also the conditions under which you live. If you live in a house, it is your responsibility to keep the house clean. When my wife and I were living alone, and I'll be living alone again, I used to be the one washing wares at home, you know. I used to be the one washing wares. I could wash wares better than any one of you all in that audience today. I am very good at that. You have to keep your house clean. You have to keep the yard clean. And And you have to keep clean the verge of your house up to the road. That is your responsibility, not the responsibility of the government. And as you do that, and as you improve the circumstances under which you live, the whole country will improve. You have, my dear friends, to take care of your own health. What we have noticed is that the most amount of deaths that now take place arise as a result of non-communicable diseases. That is to say, heart problems, hypertension, diabetes. I contracted pneumatic fever when I was age 14. I damaged my heart in the process. I have 2 artificial valves in my heart. 2 artificial valves, and I have a pacemaker. You understand? And a year and a half ago, I had an operation in Cuba to remove a cancerous kidney. They discovered a cancerous tumor in my left kidney, and the kidney had to go, my dear friends. So I am talking to you, not because I am in a position to speak, but I know that of which I speak. It is better to prevent, my dear friends, than to have to go through some of the things to which some of us have gone. It is better to prevent it. And if you have made mistakes in your life, well, before I get to mistakes, what you eat, therefore, determines what will happen to you in years to come. So if you want to insist on eating fast food, you know what will happen? You're heading for trouble. As you get older and later in life, it is going to catch up with you. So you have to cut that out as much as you can. Eat healthy, my dear friends, as best you can. Many of you may think that you have made serious mistakes in life, and therefore the cards are stacked against you. None of you all in the audience would have made any mistake more serious than the one I made in 1995. You know what it was? We called an election early in 1995. We had a discussion among us, and one of the persons present leaked it. We should never have proceeded in that way. And because it was leaked, we lost the elections. And when the elections were lost, one man was held responsible for that. It was me, my dear friends. And I had to walk all over this country and face the slings and arrows of people all over Trinidad and Tobago who felt that I had done the wrong thing, and therefore the fact that we were not in government was my fault and my fault only. And I had to face that. Every day, I got an article in the newspapers, a bad article, sometimes 2 and 3, every day for 10 months. I had to face that. I am sure that none of you has made any mistake with consequences such as those that I have had to face. None of you have had that. So that if you made a mistake and it might affect yourself, your family, as bad as you think that mistake is, you can recover from it. That's what I'm trying to say. The world has not come to an end. The world has not come to an end. You are able to recover from that. So what you do, man, is you learn from the mistakes and you move on. You just move on, my dear friends, because the sky continues to be the limit. And one final word I want to say to all of you. One final word I want to say to you. The basis of success is a deep and abiding faith in Almighty God. That's the basis of success. That's the basis of success, my dear friends. So my advice to you is live close to your God, my dear friends. Take advantage of all the opportunities that are before you. And on election day, Monday, May the 24th, you cast a ballot for the political party that is responsible for all these opportunities that are now available to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. What I would like you to do is from today, every day, I want one of you to talk to one of your friends about voting. They must vote, and they must vote for the PNM. I want each of you all to do that. Every day. You commit to doing that? Second thing I want you to do, I want you to talk to somebody who is not of your own race. I want you to talk to somebody who is not of your own race. That is more difficult to do. Okay? So it's not easy walkover. I want you to talk to somebody who is not of your own race, because one of the things that we have to engender in this country to a far greater extent than it is today is what the PNM started off as describing as interracial solidarity. No race is better or worse than any other race. We are all, my dear friends, we are all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and all of us have access to what the state has to provide. Nobody is better than anybody else. So you talk to somebody, and then you talk to somebody else who is not of your own race. You have from now till Monday, May the 24th. And if you do that, and if, my dear friends, you reaffirm your commitment to the PNM and you resolve that on Monday, May the 24th, you will go and vote for the PNM, on that very night, when all those ballots are cast and counted, all of us will say, no matter what your age is, ladies and gentlemen, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And it shall prevail. God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen.